Thank you so much for joining, everyone. I really appreciate it. Let's go ahead and type into the chat where you're from and your name so we can be sure to greet you properly. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Sharing my screen. And I believe it's now 5 o'clock. I was right. Okay, great. So if you would, go ahead and type your name and your state where you're from so that we can recognize you here in the presentation. So I want to say hello to Dawn. Hi, Jacqueline. Hi, Tiffany from Michigan. Okay, CJ, thank you. CJ's our guest speaker tonight. I'm from Toronto. I want to say hello to Trina from California, Linda from California. Okay, Donna's from sunny Florida. Selena's from Maryland. Hello, hello, hello. We'll give it a couple of minutes. People are just joining in before we start the presentation. I appreciate you for joining. Thank you so very much. We'll get started about 5 minutes after the hour to make sure we don't interrupt the presentation by people coming in. And we're going to have a really good conversation today and a presentation today. Something that we probably don't think about all that often until it's too late, which is some of the challenges we have as small business owners. And I wanted to discuss that today. And we have a presentation from one of my favorite banking institutions, and we're going to talk about ways that they solve solutions to the challenges that today's small businesses face. So again, if you could get started right at 5 minutes after the hour, since people are still coming in, and I don't want to stop the flow of the presentations. About 3 minutes, we'll be getting started. Hello, Joyce from Philadelphia. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for joining. Again, for just as a reminder, we're getting started about 3 minutes. Thank you so much for those that, hi, Shantae from Tennessee. Thank you for joining in on this wonderful webinar today. I want to let you know that the replay will be available on my YouTube channel, and I will send out an email to all those you all that did register to attend so you can watch it and follow up. Additionally, if you like to follow up with our guest presenter today, that opportunity will be available. Hi, Tawana from New Jersey. Thank you so much. We'll be getting started promptly in 2 minutes, just to make sure we have time for everyone to get settled, so you don't miss any of this valuable content. Hi, Cassandra from North Carolina. How are you? Okay. One minute and we'll be getting started. 1 minute, we'll be getting started. right, it is now 5 minutes after the hour, and we will get started. All right, so today is modern banking for today's small businesses, and we're going to focus on the challenges that small businesses have and ways that modern banks are solving those challenges. Our guest speaker for today is CJ Pospisil, and he is a junior account executive with Relay Financial. And I want to thank you so much for joining. And let's go ahead and get started. So a little bit about CJ. He is a product specialist at Relay, and where he spends most of his time educating accountants, bookkeepers, and their clients across the greater United States on how they can leverage technology to upgrade onto a virtual, no-fee banking solution that streamlines the day-to-day processes. Originally, he is from the greater Chicago area, but he moved north of the border to Montreal, for a few years, and is now based out of Toronto. While Canada can be a bit chilly, he enjoys hiking, playing ice hockey, and traveling. I want to thank you and welcome our guest speaker, guest presenter, CJ, to today's webinar. A little
Camille,
bit.
that was,
Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, that's just an amazing intro. And on the note of being a bit chilly, say we just had our first snowfall and it's so cold outside. So
really? Oh man.
Yeah.
So you had snow for Christmas, for Thanksgiving. Well, you all have Thanksgiving in October, right?
In October, right.
Okay, cool. Nice. So have you been outside in the snow this weekend?
I have not at all. I've been trapped inside, so
Trapped inside, really? Is that much snow?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm just choosing not to go outside, right?
Okay,
just bundled up, watching movies, playing board games. You know how it is.
Oh, that's the fun stuff. All right. Where's my camera on? There we go. Okay, so I am a multi-passionate small business advocate. I'm the founder of buildwithcamille.com. That is my coaching, consulting, and training community for small business leaders, entrepreneurs, and small business owners. My training and weekly appearances as a subject matter expert on various social media platforms has been helped me be able to help thousands of people. I got on camera, got nervous. You see that? Let me calm down, slow down. But I currently enjoy supporting business owners in the capacity as a QuickBooks Online Pro Advisor, a tax accountant, a business strategist, and a philanthropist. And let's go ahead and get started with our presentation. Again, this is brought to you by buildwithcamille.com and Relay Financial, modern banking for today's small businesses. And I'm going to talk about some things, just some key terminologies, and then we'll go ahead and let CJ go ahead with his presentation. So a few people ask me, okay, hey, what is modern banking? It's a term that we don't hear that often. And my definition of modern banking is it's a solutions-driven, customer-centric way of banking that includes digital access, integrations, and ease of use. All right. So when we think about traditional bank, you think about, your brick and mortar banks, they close at 5 o'clock. You can't call anybody after 7 o'clock. They may have limited integrations. If you need bank statements, you can only get them up to 3 months. After that, you don't have access to bank statements or 6 months. They have limited integrations with accounting applications. Sometimes you have to download a CSV file, then upload it to your accounting software application. So there are a lot of challenges when it comes to dealing with your standard brick and mortar banks. Modern banking looks at the challenges that the small business owner faces and operates in a solutions-driven manner to solve those challenges and make it easier for us to do banking. Because what we want to do is stop using our personal banks for business banking matters. And the way we do that is by making business banking easier. All right, so here's some of the challenges that small businesses face when it comes to their banking. Banking can take up precious time, right? So we talk about being on phone with customer service for hours and hours and hours, wondering what happened. My deposit didn't post, or my deposit posted after a withdrawal posted. And that's something you should know about, right? And you should ask when you're starting a bank relationship. I used to work at Nations Bank, which then became Bank of America about 20 years ago. And what people don't understand is that when you have a deposit and a withdrawal scheduled the same day, the bank will process sometimes the withdrawal before they process the deposit, and you end up getting an insufficient funds fee. So you want to understand, where those fees come in at, right? And how they process those things, because that can cost you money in the long run. And then we talk about banking fees that can be costly. There are bank accounts that charge you a fee for not having so much money sitting in your account. But if you're a small bank, a small business, are you really going to keep $5,000 or $10,000 in your account every single day as your daily balance? It may be you need help getting there, right? You love to do that, but some banks charge you for not having a certain amount daily balance in your bank account. That's a monthly fee, right? That you have. You got fees for using the ATMs. They're not their ATMs, but hey, you may want to travel. You may be in an area where your bank is not located. Then you got your banking ATM fees that you got to be aware of. Maybe you want to transfer money from your bank account to your personal account. There could be transfer fee costs, right? So there are all kind of fees built into your accounts that can add up over the course of time and affect your cash flow. Okay. Payments and transfers can be slow. Case in point, I had a bank account with a traditional larger bank in the Atlanta area. And when I wanted to transfer money from my bank account to my personal account to pay me as a business owner, it would take 5 days. And I'm like, and I have to have the discipline to wait the 5 days, right? But those of you that may be in a financial bind or don't have that discipline, you're like, man, forget this. I'll just go and take the business card and pay what I want to pay with a business card, and then I'll just worry about it later. And that's when you have those challenges, right? And those delays, that's what makes it easier for you to misappropriate the funds in your business account instead of using your personal account, because you don't get those the fast transactions and transfers like you need to have. Another challenge we have when it comes to traditional banking and today's banking is integrations with accounting software. Okay, integrations with accounting software. Again, as a tax accountant, my job is to make sure that your books are audit-proof books, right? And there are challenges when we have banks that are modern banks or some of your larger banks. They don't necessarily have a direct integration with Wave Accounting or QuickBooks Online or Xero, which is some of your main accounting platforms. And so when you don't have that, you got to learn how to download CSV files from the bank, upload it to, from your bank, then upload it to your accounting platform, and then reconcile and fix that if it didn't transfer the correct way. So that's another challenge that small businesses face. And then another challenge that small businesses face, and we have to be thinking about, are access to our bank statements, okay? When we think about banking, and let's give an example. If you ever want to apply for funding, right, loans or grants, sometimes, or any kind of upgrades or credit cards, sometimes they may want to have you to have access to your bank statements. Well, if you don't make it a daily or monthly practice to download or save those bank statements that you may get by online, you may, when you go to get them, you may not have access to them later, right? Some banks will give you access to statements 3 months or 6 months, and that's it. Well, if you're not doing your bookkeeping like you're supposed to, and you wait till the end of the year to do your bookkeeping, and then you say, hey, Camille, I need to do my bookkeeping, so my taxes can be right next year. The first thing I'm gonna say, well, hey, great, let's go ahead and integrate your bank with the accounting software, but your bank won't let you go back to the beginning of the year. It only gives you statements for 6 months. That's a problem, right? Then you got to go through getting permission, and all that's time taken away from you being able to move and operate efficiently as a business owner with your business bank account. And then another challenge that small businesses have is that they limit the amount of bank accounts you can have, okay? And so one of the ways I think about business and bank is I operate from a profit first based model, meaning your money should have tasks and your money should go in accounts already for those tasks. And some banks limit the amount of accounts you can have. And of course, there are fees for those additional accounts. So these are some challenges that we face as small business owners that are not being solved by a lot of today's long-standing businesses. So financial institutions must be able to deliver an easy to navigate and seamless digital platform that goes far beyond a miniaturized online banking offering, right? So you may say, hey, my bank has online banking. All that means is you can go online to see your transactions. Maybe you can go online to put a hold on your debit card, but is it really online banking? Can you really do all of your banking online? And that's something we have to think about. All right, so again, in talking about some of the challenges that we have when it comes to the modern banking, your bank fees and your cash flow. So I mentioned to you earlier how banks will process your withdrawals prior to your deposits if they happen on the same day, thus causing you to have an insufficient funds fee if the money is just not there, which is an unexpected fee of $35, right? $30, depending on your bank, that you were not expecting. Okay, so that these interruptions and these extra fees can interrupt your cash flow. And when you don't have a consistent cash flow, that affects your long-term growth and your projections for your company, okay? So you want to get in the habit of monitoring your cash flow because that is crucial to your long-term success, all right? And I call it doing a bank fee audit. You want to look at if you have any bank overdraft fees, any fees for not keeping a certain balance in your account, any fees for ATM usage. So you want to think about all those things when it comes to your banking, and then choosing the bank that can help you minimize or eliminate those additional bank fees. And so with that, I have addressed to you, CJ, some of the challenges that I think us as small business owners face with today's modern banking. How does Relay Financial solve modern banking for today's small business? And with that, I'm going to turn the presentation over to you. Let me stop my presentation.
I think I can override you. Let me try one sec. Does that work?
It does. Perfect. Awesome.
Awesome. Well, Camille, that was a really great intro. I think you gave some really great insights into some big issues small businesses have with traditional banking institutions. And I'm here today because Relay is a virtual, no fee banking solution that's designed to solve a lot of these issues, right? But what is Relay, right? Like, what is that software? So in short, Relay is banking that puts small businesses in control of their own money. But what does that mean, right? So how does that differ from a traditional banking institution? So unlike most traditional banks, you'll find a lot of features in Relay that are designed specifically to help small businesses manage their day-to-day finances and give all the controls that you need to operate your business. So this includes giving you more visibility into your cash flow with transaction data that you can actually understand. So this is also enabling secure collaboration between your team and your advisor and helping you work to collaborate in the way you prefer to. And when I refer to advisor, this is a financial advisor, right? So an accountant or bookkeeper who wants to get eyes in your bank account to be able to help you balance your books. And finally, unlike most banks, Relay comes with tools and software features that help you automate your day-to-day financial admin. So what's our story? We're founded in 2018 by a team with a long history of working with small businesses. This includes in the payments and accounting and bookkeeping space as well. So we serve small businesses exclusively across the United States. Yes, there is some irony there that we are located in Canada, but maybe we'll look to service Canada soon. And we don't have physical branches. We're entirely online. You can only access our platform and Relay through the platform. And we have a partner bank, which is Evolve Bank and Trust, a bank that's been around since 1925. And through Evolve, all of our accounts are FDIC insured. Let's go. Okay, so why were we founded? So as Camille mentioned, there are a lot of struggles small businesses have when it comes to traditional banks. So traditional banks typically underinvest when it comes to enabling small businesses to have success. So some interesting stats here that we found is that, on average, a small business has over 2.5 business banking relationships. And in 2019 alone, 55% of small businesses in the United States either changed their financial institution entirely or added a new financial institution, right? So why is this happening? Why are small businesses change their banks at such a high rate? So here's what we hear most often when we communicate with small businesses about why they're making these changes. So at the top, we have poor customer service. So a lot of times it's just hard to get someone to help you. It's not unusual for businesses to spend hours on the phone trying to reach someone at their bank, but the bank's too big, they have too many clients, they don't have the time to actually communicate with you and help you out with your situation. So next, of course, we have the fees. I'm sure you're all familiar. So these are monthly fees just to hold an account, the multiple fees for making payments, and perhaps you have to make a minimum balance in the account, as Camille mentioned, right? Like you really want to keep the 500 or whatever dollars in there and do transactions on top of that. It's just not designed for small businesses. Small businesses report that it's difficult to collaborate with their advisors, right? So as I mentioned before, accountants and bookkeepers. And most banks don't make it easy to provide banking access for the advisor. This adds to the back and forth, right? So they're messaging you, hey, you can have that 2FA code to get access to your account. And even if they have full access, right? Do you really want your advisor to be able to make transactions on the accounts? And you just want to be able to read only, or what if they do bill pay, right? How does that work with this old software and old, traditional banking website? So last, we have traditional banks create a ton of admin work for small businesses. So this is opening accounts, issuing cards, making payments, again, collaborating with your advisors. This all takes up a lot of your time. So wanted to address these common issues directly, and our approach to business banking is really to give you the experience that you'd like to have at a local branch and combine this with the efficiency that you get with a software, right? So we have a really world-class customer service team. Our phone lines are open 9 to 5 Eastern Standard Time Zone, 5 days a week. Our emails are just about 24/7. We're located East Coast and West Coast, and we want to give you that feel of that traditional, local bank. Having someone that you can go walk into while being completely online. So first, beyond that, we want to make sure that all the business banking basics and the security that you'd expect from a financial institution is taken care of. That's why all Relay business accounts are FDIC insured up to $250,000. When you do your banking with Relay, your money is safe. In addition to that, all debit cards are protected by MasterCard's zero liability policy, on top of which you can instantly freeze any card from your smartphone or Relay's web app. Finally, Relay lets you set role-based permissions for any users that you invite to collaborate on the account. You can also enable a 2FA to keep the login secure. All right. So
could you explain what 2FA is for people that may not know?
Yeah. So a 2FA code is an added layer of security when you get access to an account. So for example, when you type in your username and your password, sometimes the website will ask you, we sent a code to, texted your phone number, or we emailed you. You have to go access that code. The issue with accountants and bookkeepers is when they're trying to help you do your books, with traditional banking institutions, they typically will have your login credentials stored somewhere. So when they sign into your bank accounts, even if you guys, have agreed a relationship that that's okay, they still may not be able to get access because there's a text to your phone or an email to your account that they don't have access to. So they're constantly having to message you back and forth. Hey, can I get that 2FA code? And we don't think that's how it should be, right? They shouldn't have that back and forth. We want to minimize the communication that you have there so you can focus on actually working on your business, and your accountant can focus on your books. Now, when I say 2FA code with Relay, this is, of course, everyone's unique access. You have your own unique login, so there's no more need for having to message back and forth, but you can still have that extra layer of security. Okay, so let's switch over to Relay. So log in here. This is what a Relay bank account looks like. Now, first, here we have our bank feed. Relay has a direct API with both QuickBooks Online and Xero. This means when you do your banking with Relay, you're not going to have broken bank feeds, duplicating transactions. And the bank feed here is also very intuitive. It's very smart. We have features that are designed around cash flow visibility. This is supposed to enable you to be able to do the cash flow management that you want to do, but and with your accountant as well, being able to understand your books. So the first feature oriented around this is the check deposit feature. So here we have a check deposit. When you deposit a check with Relay, you'll download our mobile app. Take a photo of the front and the back of the check. And what we'll do is we'll require you to take a photo of the check. So when your financial advisor is going in, they want to see what the check deposit's for, you've given them that indication. So no longer will they have to message you or email you separately. And this is a really cool feature here. This is what we call enriched data.
Question for you. I'm sorry, Jay. So how long does it take you all to deposit those mobile deposits?
It's a 2 business day timeline.
Perfect.
And so back to the enriched data here, you'll notice we actually have company logos and names with our MasterCard transactions. What this is Relay has our own internal software system, which takes the raw banking data. We can interpret it and understand it and give you this enhanced financial visibility. A great example is the Sutter Stockton transaction here. If you're not from the Bay Area, you're probably not familiar with this transaction. So maybe you have a junior member of your team on a business trip and you just want to be able to know, what is this for? Clicking in, Relay will give you some information here, including a categorization. Relay will categorize the expense for you, so you'll actually be able to know, okay, this was a travel expense at a parking lot and garage from the travel expenses checking account of the card. We'll also provide a phone number, website, address, and map location of where the transaction took place. So Camille mentioned a bit before about the issues with opening multiple checking accounts and be able to do the profit first method of cash management. What you'll notice here is you can actually see the different checking accounts this Relay user is using, right? So you have marketing, travel, operating. When you bank with Relay, you'll have access to up to 20 individual checking accounts at no cost. So what's awesome about these is they're not sub-accounts or envelopes where you store money. They're actually their own checking accounts. So they each have their own accounting number, routing number, and individual bank statements. Playing around with these, customizing them, super intuitive. You don't have to contact us, just go to add accounts, create your own nickname, choose who on your team will have access to this account, and it'll pop right up for you. So here in the top, if you want to move money between these accounts, what's really big in the profit first method is moving money in between accounts by percentages. So as of now, if you're doing this with a traditional banking institution, you got to get your calculator, you're doing a bit of math there, and it may take some time. With Relay, we'll just click on the operating account, where you want to move money from. And let's say go to the bottom here, you want to move money to marketing expenses, let's say tax and owner pay. What you can do is choose the amounts, let's say an obscure amount here, and then you can choose the percentages, and Relay will give you a full summary of how much money is moving from where to where, the percentages, and everything you'll need to know. So this feature also works with the add money feature. So right now with your current banking provider, if you wanted to bring money from there into Relay, what you do is you connect to that external account. Relay connects to 100% of banks in the US, and there's no fee to bring your money in. And this is a 1 business day ACH pull.
So let me stop you right there. Just I have a question. I want to make sure that we're thinking about all the different types of businesses. So you mentioned having the different accounts, which I always agree with. And one of the accounts you mentioned was owner's pay. So if you are a single member LLC or a sole proprietor, and you have questions about, I got to get a personal account at this bank, and then I got a business account at this bank, this kind of solves that problem because you're able to have a separate bank account for owner's pay. You can transfer and pay your compensation to yourself and not have mixed use funds and have your own separate account at the same bank.
Exactly. And on this theme of being able to understand how much money you have in your account, how much is in your owner's pay, with our payments features, and we'll get there in a bit, I promise. But we don't, when you make a payment or you send a check out, we'll pull that money from the checking account immediately. So you'll know exactly how much you have in your account relative to with a traditional bank. Let's say you send out a check, you'll have that money in the account number here. And you may think you have more money than you do. send money to yourself, and then all of a sudden, your account runs a deficit and that bank's going to charge you an overdraft fee, right? So with Relay, you don't have overdraft fees. So even if you tried to overdraft, you would cancel the transaction and say, hey, let you know, by the way, in your, let's say, payroll account, you don't have enough money, and you'll be able to transfer money, from that other account instantly, and then be able to pay your staff while being able to know exactly how much you'll have for your own owner's pay.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so now with the bank statements. So getting access to the account statements, we'll just go to the statements tab here. Choose a month, export, and download. And you can choose the accounts to download. Now, so as mentioned before, we have a direct API with QuickBooks Online. If you're using QuickBooks Desktop still, you can get the account statements here, download as a CSV, and then you can import them into QuickBooks Desktop. So Relay does work with desktop as well. It's just not, it's a bit more manual, right? So we just recommend making move to online so that all of these processes can become seamless.
And how many months of bank statements do you have access to?
You'll have access to the entire history of bank statements at all times.
Nice.
And what's awesome about this feature too is recently we had an update with QuickBooks Online. All of the account statements are automatically synced there as well, so you can access them there as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, let's check out the cards feature. So you'll have access to 50 of our MasterCard debit cards for free at no cost. So these cards are backed by MasterCard's your liability policy, as mentioned before, and they work anywhere credit's accepted. They'll just pull from the Relay checking account. So now let's go to the process of creating a card. So let's go to the green button here. And let's say this is for an outside marketing consultant, right? Someone maybe not on your team, but you want to hire a marketer to do, get your brand name out there and help you out. So let's create a marketing card. This can be physical or virtual, both sync with Google and Apple Pay. And scrolling down, we've actually created a marketing expenses checking account and allocated funds for this marketing consultant. So we'll associate the card with that account. Next, you can put your name or someone on your team's name on the card. You can set a daily transaction limit, a daily ATM withdrawal limit, and choose what you'd like to allow for on transactions, just so this consultant doesn't spend all the money in the account in one day if you don't want them to. Finally, let's say this consultant's located virtually, right? You're one side of the country, they're on the other. You can choose a custom address if you want them to have a physical card and send it there as well.
So if I could jump in, let me give you an example for those of you that may be notaries and you're like, okay, well, hey, how does that help me? When you are a notary and you are transitioning to an agency or a signing service-based model, as you mentioned, you may hire external salespeople for you. You may have an operations manager that's going around, that's going to go through to communicate with your actual clients. And maybe you may fly yourself or someone else out to different conferences. And so you want to have control on your spending and not give them access to your main account. So you have a sub account, not a sub account, but a separate account for those expenses, and you can monitor those. Long time ago, we would call those purchase cards, right? But now that whole purchase card type of concept is built into your bank account, where you can issue a virtual card where they can put on their phone and tap to pay, or the actual physical card. So that is a really good feature as you're thinking about growing from just a single notary business to an agency and signing service-based model.
And what's awesome about these cards as well is because it's through your bank, we've built in security features to make sure that your money is safe. So going back, let's say you hire an outside sales team, this marketer, whoever, and they have a card here, and all of a sudden they start spending money fraudulently, or there's, transactions happening in the account that you don't know what's happening, you're not sure. What you can do is click in the card on the left side here, go to edit, and you can freeze the card or change the PIN instantly. What this means is, let's say you have a team of people, all the cards, access to an account, you can instantly freeze all the cards. You can issue new virtual cards and still have that checking account up and running same day without having to call your bank, wait for them to check it out. Maybe you hear back within a few days or a week. You can have your business back up and operating as soon as possible. Okay, so payments. Going to the top right here in the payments tab, we'll go to new payment. Our most popular method of payment in Relay is our next day ACH. There are no underlying transaction fees for this. We also have domestic wires for $5, international wires for $10, and checks. And how checks work with Relay is you'll input the information here, and we'll actually print and send the check on your behalf.
So jumping in again,
yeah.
because this is why I really wanted us to have this conversation again, because when I talk to people, I talk to a lot of notaries about, expansion and moving into an agency or signing service-based model. So think about this, you being an agency or a signing service. How are you going to pay people, right? Pay your vendors and pay your contractors well. A lot of companies pay you 45 days, 30 days, or sometimes 60 days. This right here, as long as you have a good operating cash flow, you'll be able to receive your contractor's invoice, because I do recommend you getting an invoice from them, right? That's just good business. And then they can get paid within two days, next day or 2 days. Now, is the next day payment method based on a certain time of day that we issue out those payments, or is it up to midnight and it'll still go through 6 o'clock next morning? What's your time limit for next day?
I believe it's 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the next day ACH. So any payments made before then will arrive the next day. Anything after that 6 p.m. timeline will come the day after.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And then just for those that may not understand, can you explain what ACH payment is, please?
Yeah, so ACH is it's an American way of sending money like online, right? So it's the American network for money transfers. It doesn't work outside of the US, and that's why we have these international wire options here. Before the ACH network was up, there were domestic wires, and what you'll notice is, as intuitive and no fee we try to be, like these wires are expensive to facilitate, right? So we have to charge $5, $10. So the ACH network was this new way to send money, very safely and securely while being cost effective. So that's why we can do it such a fast timeline as well.
So it operates like a direct deposit, would you say?
Very similar
Okay.
for business banking.
Gotcha. Perfect.
And what's awesome about Relay is, unlike some other banks, you can pay anyone, right? So we're not going to limit you to just businesses. You can pay freelancers. You can pay yourself, right? If you wanted to pay yourself right here, you just go to new payee. You'd input all the information for your personal bank account, and you go to next day ACH, and you can pay yourself. So scrolling down for this example, let's say we're going to pay a new vendor of ours, or let's say Gary Garcia here, right? So Gary is someone new we're paying for the first time, and we don't have any of his payment information on file. So what we'll do is we'll click here, and through a secure Relay portal, Gary will input his account and routing number. And what we can do is require Gary to submit a W-9 form as well. So Camila, I don't know how much experience the audience here has with W-9s, filing 1099s, getting these forms from your vendors. But the idea here is, instead of having to badger your vendors after you paid them, and when tax season comes around a few months later, like, hey, can I have this form? Obviously this is not top of mind for them. You get the form before they get paid, right? And so the incentive on their end is they can't receive their money until they give you this form, right? So what'll happen is Relay will store all these W-9s. So by the time tax season comes around, you'll have all of them here, and you can file all the 1099s.
I am loving that. So a few things. When it comes to requesting 1099 documents, there are certain compliance requirements that businesses have for safety and how you capture and hold the information. And so by having Relay Bank do that, they absorb the responsibility of being able to capture and retain that information digitally. So that leaves a lot of pressure on you, the business, as far as compliance with having people's information, because let's face it, not everybody's not going to have an EIN number, which I do recommend, even if you're a sole proprietor. So some may put their social security numbers on that W-9 form. So having Relay Bank capture information for you, it reduces liability on your part as a small business owner. So that's a great feature.
So for the rest of this payments, you can make it recurring. So you're paying them all the time. You can schedule a date in the future. And on this theme of cash flow visibility, you're required to leave a note. This will indicate to the vendor what the payment's for and your financial advisor. So when they're doing your books, they don't have to reach out to you. They'll know because you put in a note. Okay. So let's say tax season comes around and you want to access W-9s. Super easy. Just go to the bottom here, see all payees, and we can search for Gary. Gary will pop right up. and then we can click in and you can access that here. So as Camille mentioned, this is just going to offload a lot of, work on your end, manually trying to reach out to people and get this documentation. Okay, so everything you guys have seen so far is completely free. So once again, no registration fees, no monthly fees, no minimum balance requirements, and no fees for additional checking accounts. Now we do have a Relay Pro, which is an enhanced version of our payments. This is a bill pay function. So how it works is we sync with QuickBooks Online. We pull in all the unpaid bills and invoices into Relay. So once they're paid here, we'll communicate that information back to QuickBooks Online, showing as a paid bill there. It'll match the corresponding transaction in the bank feed. You'll just have one-click reconciliation. To show you how this works, I'm actually going to switch to our other demo account, Henry's Hat Hut. So here we'll see some bills we pulled in from Henry's cloud accounting software. Clicking in, you'll notice we pulled in these bills, and let's check out this first one. So on the right side, we have an invoice. This is because there was a source document associating QBO with the bill. We pull that into Relay. And in our bottom left, we have an approval workflow. Relay has multi-stage, multi-party approval workflow functionality. With these bills, we also have a batch pay feature. So if you are paying multiple bills to the same vendor, in this case, it's Langley Supplies, you can pay Langley these all in one outgoing payment. So we'll click on all these, go to initiate payments. Relay will ask, do you want to combine these? You can opt in. Yes, I do. And with Relay Pro, you'll have access to our same day ACH, and this is unlimited with no underlying transaction fees. So Relay Pro is this enhanced subscription that we're looking to build out. Right now, it's bill pay and unlimited domestic and international wires. So if you have to pay people abroad quite often, we'd recommend just turning on Pro just to save, a bit of extra cash. So the fee for this Relay Pro, once again, the sync with the QuickBooks Online, the approval workflows, the batch pay, the same day ACH, and the unlimited domestic international wires is $30 per month. That's 30, with no underlying transaction fees under any of those payments.
So let me make sure I'm understanding. The regular bank account that's not the paid one, that does not have an integration with QuickBooks?
So there's an integration with QuickBooks Online for the bank feed, right? But not for the payments.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So for the payments, you still have to enter that into manually.
Right.
Gotcha.
So if you're doing a low transaction volume, let's say like 5 to 10 bills, like just use the standard payment feature. Like you'll have your vendors here, you can manually input that, and probably won't take too much time. If you're paying 50 bills a month, it's a high volume, maybe it makes more sense to get access to that same day ACH to make sure you're paying people on time, have that communication be seamless. It may save you time, but also making sure that you're paying your vendors on time.
And you all do you said you all match the bill to the payment to make it easy for reconciliation in the QuickBooks.
Correct. So you'll go in the QuickBooks, it all works done for you. You just have one-click reconciliation.
Perfect. Okay.
So last thing I'll show here is, or second last thing is team. So this is where you'd add your team to Relay. So going here, let's say you wanted to have a junior member get access to a card. You could have a cardholder account, someone just to do bill pay, admin to be the same access level as you. Super customizable. You can edit this. If you, let's say someone leaves your business, you can, downgrade their access level as well. And this is the section for your advisors. So this could be your financial advisor. This could be maybe a lawyer or a financial investor, or maybe a family member, right? Who just wants to check in on the books and see what's going on, right? So you can go to add an advisor, input their work email, give them read only, bill pay, however, depending on the relationship you have with this particular person. And just to be very clear, once again, this means that everyone has their own unique login to the account, right? Your financial advisor is not going to have your own bank login to your account and issues with messaging about 2FA codes anymore. It's secure, it's collaborative, it's very clean. Everyone gets access, can do what they need to do without having to message back and forth. Okay, so going to settings, I mentioned two-factor authentication before. You can enable it through here. And then the add business feature. So if you have multiple business entities, let's say you have a parent company and some side companies, subsidiaries, what you can do is create a Relay account for your parent company and then add your subsidiary companies here. And you can access the bank accounts for all of these different businesses through one banking login credential. I know Camille loves this feature. And finally, here's the integration. So this will help you guys better understand the bank fee discrepancy and the bill pay. So we have a connection with QBO for that direct API, no more broken bank feeds. And if you don't want to use the bill pay, you can still get access to the bank feed. For the bill pay, you can connect that separately here. We also have integrations with Dext and HubDoc. To these connections, we auto export your account statements there. And for any of you doing payroll on Gusto, this is a bit top secret here. I have a big mouth, so I don't really care, but we are having an integration with them coming out later before the end of the year. We'll be only the second banking provider to have an integration with Gusto for payroll.
Go ahead, CJ. That is nice. Okay, so since you're giving us a little heads up, how will that integration work? Seeing as though we can do bill pay through Relay for like our independent contractors and vendors, how would that integration work with Gusto if we're using Gusto to pay our independent contractors?
Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to our bank feed here and back to the enriched data feature. Now, I can't give you the full scope of everything that's coming out because obviously we haven't released it yet. Gotcha. But the idea is we want you to be able to do your cash flow through Relay, being able to understand exactly how much you have, where the money is going, where it's coming from, all in one location seamlessly, no more having to check different platforms all at one time, right? So what it'll look like is you'll see here, you have a Gusto payment, right? It'll say Gusto logo, click in, you can see who's getting paid, how much, from what accounts are being paid. And what you can do is when you schedule payments in Gusto, that information will sync with Relay's payments. So let's say you're scheduling payments with Relay through bill pay on your, even recurring payments going out every month. And you also have your payroll, scheduled. What we can do is forecast your finances for the future. So let's say 9 months from now, we predict that your account's going to run a deficit. We can warn you for that, in advance. And then you can do whatever you need to do on your end, move bill payment scheduling around to make sure that your employees are being paid on time.
Awesome. That's very, very good. That's really a robust way of financial, like I said, cash management. It's being able to predict your cash flow so you can get ahead of it and jump in front of it. So you can say, okay, hey, I need to figure things out, reduce some of my operational expenses or increase my income. So that's a really good feature. And I actually do a webinar about that called budgeting versus income planning. So that's a good feature. So thank you for mentioning that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That is the end of the product walkthrough. One last thing I would like to show is just this breakdown of the difference between Relay Standard and Pro, just to emphasize our standard banking feature is completely free. So you're not paying anything. This includes the checking accounts for that profit first method of cash flow, the ACH transactions, the debit cards, automating those expenses. You can set those scheduling payments through our standard payments feature. With Pro, it's just that enhanced version. If you're doing a high volume transactions, you want a better way to manage those payments.
All right, do we have time for a few minutes of questioning? We got like 10 minutes, I believe, because we're going to end at 6 o'clock Eastern. So if you have questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat and we'll go ahead and start answering those now. So the first question we have from Shantae, CJ, she says, how can I import invoices from my vendors if they mail them to me? How can I import invoices from my vendors if they mail them to me?
It's a great question. So how that works is you'll need to use software such as like Dext, where you can upload your invoices and then create that bill in QuickBooks Online. So from Dext to QuickBooks Online, Relay will pull the bill in and you can pay the Relay and communicate it back to QuickBooks. So we're not the ones who are, you're not putting the bills in the Relay, right? You're doing exactly what you're already doing, putting all the information in QuickBooks Online, and we'll just interpret it from there.
Another way you can do it outside of using Dex. So just so you all understand, this is based on you having a banking relationship, an accounting software with like Xero or QuickBooks, okay? So this is when you have outgrown Notary Gadget, Notary Earth, Notary Assist. This is when you are moving more towards an agency signing service model, having high volume transactions, okay? And so if you are getting your bills in, like, I may have cable bill, internet bill here for the office, a water bill for the office. What I normally do is I can enter those bills into QuickBooks and then I can pay it through the bank, right? Or you can use, he mentioned the HubDoc
Mhm.
You can upload your invoices there into HubDoc, and HubDoc will also store it for you. So there are various ways that you can integrate or pull in these invoices that you receive in the mail that are not online in order for you to utilize this vendor pay system. Okay, so she wants to know, she says most traditional banks have requirements for account creation, like documentation showing the business has been registered, an EIN number, a DBA certificate, or some sort of information like that. What is the requirement to open a bank account with Relay?
So what I've opened up here is the Relay Knowledge Center. So we have a lot of blog posts that go into more detail about the product and things like required documents for registration. So it's the standard documentation. It's a similar process where you have the basic information. Do note that you can create a Relay account. Let's say if you're not in the United States, but you have a U.S. registered business, or if you're not an American. And then scrolling down, depending on how you're incorporated, we require just the standard like DBA, EIN, AOI, sole prop is pretty seamless. So whatever works for you.
Yeah, even though this bank is 100% virtual, it is a traditional bank. And so they do still require the same thing as you would need at a traditional bank. And these are things you should have anyway, and you should keep on file for you, for your business. Hint, hint. Keep that online and like an online folder so you can have access to whenever you need to have access to it. And they also keep a paper copy in case you forget your password, you can't get around. So that's a good thing to do. Any other questions that we may have regarding Relay Bank and how it can solve the challenges of today's small businesses when it relates to banking? Is Quickbook and Xero the only accounting bookkeeping software that can integrate with Relay? Great question.
So the answer is that Relay integrates with a lot of different cloud accounting softwares. It's just not going to be this direct API. So right now, what it looks like with QuickBooks Online is Xero. Since we're the bank provider and we've worked out integrations, the communication is direct. Now, what you can use is a Yodlee or a Plaid. They're these third-party providers that can basically translate your banking transactions for these other cloud accounting softwares. So how that looks like is that information is going to their platform and then to the cloud accounting software and back and forth that way. So it's not seamless. It's not entirely like that direct API that you'll have QBO, but it still works very well. I personally work with a lot of businesses who have worked this out, and they are happy doing it with Relay as well.
And actually, if you're following me, if you're on my email list or you're part of my community on Clubhouse, Build with Camille, on Thursday morning, I will be showing you how to integrate Relay with Wave accounting software. So if you have not graduated to using like QuickBooks, maybe we're still kind of watching our budget, right? I'm going to show you how to integrate Relay with Wave. And I'm going to create, because we can do multiple companies, I'm going to create an account with Relay, throw some dollars in there, and show you how to integrate that with Wave so that you can have a complete free financial management system until you're able to upgrade to the paid option. And like I said, and this is something you want to think about, things that you'll need before you grow to that point, right? Put those things in place. If your goal is to grow and be an agency or a signing service, and you need a way to pay people, they have that. You need to have multiple accounts for different things. You need a tax account, operating account, a payroll account. You need to have these different accounts. And so they take care of that. So you want to get ourselves in a position of being ready for expansion, especially as we move into the new year. And so it's always a good time to make these decisions and changes as you enter the new year, because you can start the new year off fresh and it's easier. So I'm going to show you all how to do that one Thursday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time to 9:30 a.m. I'll be doing a live tutorial on integrating Relay with Wave accounting system. Any other questions?
I kind of want to come to that too. Can I get the invite?
Yeah, of course. I might have missed this. Does Relay accept checks from platforms such as Deluxe? Oh, yes. A lot of signing services that pay notaries use Deluxe payment method. Do you all accept checks from Deluxe? Those like e-checks?
I've never heard about Deluxe. What I can do is figure that out, and then I can message you afterwards and just double check that. But it's I've never heard of any issues of like not being able to accept checks from somewhere. So I'm leaning towards yes, but that is not a promise. I'm going to double check on that.
Shantae, this is a common problem we have when it comes to the bill pay with traditional banks. She says that she does not have any accounting programs right now, but she does have a Bank of America business account. She used their bill pay feature and set up the transactions 2 weeks before the bill was due. The payment did not get to the vendor on time. She had to end up canceling that bill pay check and pay them a physical payment so that the payment would not be late. How do you, and so if we think about this, Shantae, this is different from bill pay, because with bill pay, the money comes out later. With them, the money comes out immediately and you can send it within a day to two business days, or you can schedule it ahead of time. So as an accountant, what I would do is always schedule payments at least 3 days before it's due, so that if there are any challenges, outages, Amazon goes out, internet goes out, anything happens, it arrives on time. But this will solve that kind of challenge that you would have with the bill pay option with your traditional banks. And so it is 5:56 p.m. Thank you so very much for joining in. Any other questions before I let you go and enjoy the rest of your weekend and get ready for the week? Okay, well, go ahead.
Can I show everyone how to sign up for an account?
Please do.
Okay. So if you're interested, this looks like a solution that you want to go forward with. Let me find here. So what you can do right now is go to buildwithcamille.com. And if you scroll down here, you'll find a Relay Partner badge. So clicking on this badge will take you to the Relay portal to sign on for an account. Now, the advantage here is if you do it here, I can make sure, I can see that you registered here. And if I see any issues or anything like that, I can just double check and reach out to you directly and know that you're coming from, Camille, and make sure that your sign on is as seamless as possible. Yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah. So just to be completely transparent, I am an accountant. I do have a partner account with them. If you do upgrade to the paid feature, I do receive a compensation commission for that. But again, you don't have to use that feature. I want you to grow at a pace that is good for you. My job is to make sure that we find resources that can help you better manage your flow, your financial and cash flow for long-term success. So I do my due diligence when I think about relationships, and this is a bank that I have decided to use for my bank and figure it'll be a great opportunity to share with other small businesses like myself, and those that are also in the same industry. They may have the same challenges that I was facing with other banks. All right, so thank you all so much. Again, you can go to buildwithcamille.com very good question. Do you need to keep any kind of minimum in the bank account?
Of course not. We're not a traditional bank. We're not charging those fees. You can create an account, just test out the software, get a feel for it without having to bring any money in. So creating an account is completely free and you don't have to bring in any money when you start.
And then no monthly minimums?
No monthly minimums.
You rock.
We do our best.
You rock. Okay, cool beans. So I look forward to sharing with y'all. Be sure to join me on Clubhouse at buildwithcamille.com this Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern to 9:30 a.m. The first 30 minutes we devote to any questions and answers you may have. And then we're going to jump right into a live tutorial of me integrating my Relay bank account. So I'm going to expose myself, my Relay bank account, because I have signed up for Relay, my own personal account. I'm my own test dummy. And then I'm going to integrate that with Wave account. So if you followed me this past Thursday, I was showing you all how to start using Wave accounting, because we want to start growing into a more robust accounting platform for ourselves as business owners. And so I'm going to take it a step further and integrate these two applications and show you how to do your accounting management for the free $99. Okay, so thank you so much, CJ. It has been a pleasure having you. I am so glad to have made your acquaintance and introduced you to my community. And thank you all for joining me this evening. And I hope you continue to build with Camille.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye for now.